저거까지 깨서 봤지. 바데 이런 제들이 시체 쪽으로. 내가 지금 한테 싸바인데 중지 가야 돼. 애도 뭐는 사지가 빠고 뭐는 그런데 근데 내가 지금 한국 대충 따졌잖아. 샤드는 나도 차지 봐도 손으로 말했어. 내가 지금 차네. 아침을 까봤다들 깔당대 까빠유도 무슨 까빠를 내가 지금 샤지 진짜로 내 지금 못 받은 내가 어렸을 때 수가 통통나고 잘나고 이럴 때 까봤네 너 잘했어. 대회더니 내가 지금 생기는 비용 먹었어. 내 일을 좀 때려 이치게. 근데 다다 무슨 뭐 여러 내가 계산 요나야. 그때 내가 지금 좀 하고 봐. 사족 선배를 하죠. 근데 뭐 여러 내가 같이 만났을 때 내가 좀 딱히 강의도 해서 봐야 될 때. 내가 지금 하면 대장 뭐 여러 동일라서 막 다네. 오, 다 나한테 머리 가도 그래서 작합적을 따내면 작합적을 너무 삼아를 걸어. 작합적을 놓여요. 가게 집이 작합적이 다 떨어져서 얘는 게 세번 모두 맞지 보여요. 그래 지금 인디지라 피바다 보지. 이봐라 초사도 좀 초사도는데 현고말 대바양 가는 게 보여요. 현고말 삼미지지라 삼미지지나 이런 가지고 사와서 80 쪽이 들어오요. 현고말 대바지 소소 인하도 봐서 내가 너무 막 이번도 오요. 너한테 가면 지와는 이지고래. 현고말 지와는데 대바를 저도 현고말 삼미지지 대가 세비 유라고나. 제체 소지 바로 나타기서 와로는 늘 삼바된 기계의 요리 성대 이런 탐지 기와는 저도 대기를 해서 오 루마에서 사마 탐지 기와는 저거는 그래서 아주 생각을 해서 대외들이 상이 끝에 맞지 요리 캐나 빈 내가 지금 저거 로저 또지 힐크리 용기라고 봐 이바지 속사도 장소고요. 소사도 정도다 소사지 맞았지. 삼문게 생기고 그래. 생기를 제일 힘게 끼었지. 힘게 되니. 가마가 나타나는 게 힘도 힘게 쟁로리. 이거는 저 도대라서 파마를 또 때가 많아 하다는 것을 비슷하게. 힘게 리링 때도 힘게 돼. 쟁로 그래. 힘게 사지도 소사. 그러니까 정들이 저 인피로 제답지는 나한테 제사 봐 쇼로 자료로. 이건 내가 집어 차려요. 이게 기마사 나디 쇼로 그래. 나디 깨는지는 이게 봐주면 자롱라고 자롱네. 그는 자롱이 마땅해. 자롱들이 말을 들어가나지. 뒤에 싸우시는 속사들은 나한테 돈은 이게 있기나. 이게 소에 누가랑 이게 다 그래. 같이 왔니? 강 고바. 강용 때지 마다. 이제 좀 봐. 저스 빠졌더니 사람들이 하나 라지 탐지로 도요 봐. 내가 대봐. 요 이바데 게다 가려 좀 많아 하다 내가 새끼 참 이런 것들이 내가 듣게 그거 맞지 많이 봐. 아니 뭐 하는데 내가 듣게 저게세 인소젠스 앞에 포사주 생기 여서가 그냥 기분 하는 나서 이제세 얼마제세 야 하고 그래서
So first, we must understand the causes for being reborn in Garchen. And there's 4 causes of birth in Garchen. The first one is the support of visualizing the field of accumulation. And that means to bring to mind the qualities of the Buddha Amitabha and the Pure Land. To think about the qualities, think about the Pure Land. And the qualities of the Buddha Amitabha is that his mind is completely empty like space, and this wisdom mind is all pervasive, and it is naturally clear wisdom, and from this natural clarity there manifests a rainbow-like manifestation of great compassion. And this is how the Pure Land exists and the Buddha Amitabha abides. And I think that the entire space is filled with Pure Lands. in this a rainbow-like form. So how we can understand that is, for example, when you look into, for example, there's in this city here, and there is a whole, a large rainbow that covers the entire city, something like that, all pervasive like that. And then at the same time, the city does not exist in reality, and also the rainbow doesn't truly exist. So this is how you should see also the Pure Land of the Garchen and the Buddha Amitabha. And one may wonder if the Pure Land is something that actually is there. And you can say it is there because a sign of it being there is that the Pure Land of the Garchen and all the other Pure Lands and all the other Buddha emanations and forms are a manifestation of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta manifests as the Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya Pure Lands. And what manifests in the impure perception is due to self-grasping and afflictive emotions. The lower realms, hell and animals, hungry spirits and so on manifest. And in this world of humans, we experience both happiness and suffering. And even the slightest happiness that we experience also comes from a certain action that we have engaged in with body and speech. And it comes from an action that was motivated by love and compassion. This is where even the slightest happiness in this world comes from. Because on a relative level, it is that karma is infallible. And then also, all the conflict and the fighting and suffering in this world comes from actions motivated by hatred, pride, jealousy, and so on. So in this human world, we experience both happiness and suffering because we have engaged in all kinds of different actions, karmas. So we can see that directly. In whichever way we can perceive the suffering in this world, in the same way the Pure Land of Garchen also exists. But the Pure Land of Garchen is a very special Pure Land, and it is special, it is different than other Pure Lands. Because even though there are many Pure Lands, there are countless millions different of kinds of Pure Lands, one can only be born there if one has attained at least the 8th bhumi. Otherwise one cannot be born in any of the other Pure Lands. So leaving aside attaining the 8th bhumi, we can see how many sentient beings at least can cultivate some bodhicitta. Even that seems very difficult. And so we can see that is why most of the sentient beings live in the 3 lower realms. And so therefore the Buddha Amitabha, encouraged by all the Buddhas of the 3 times, made an aspiration to create this Pure Land. And for many aeons, he made countless offerings to millions of Buddhas and made this aspiration to create the Pure Land of Garchen, along with an offering of the 7 limbs to all those Buddhas. And so what was the essence of his aspiration? What he said, may there be a Pure Land where even ordinary sentient beings can be born if they only cultivate faith and if they only pray. And all the other Buddhas rejoiced in that and approved. And that is also why in the beginning of all our prayers to be born in Garchen, it says Emaho. All the prayers begin with Emaho, which means how wonderful. And this is the praise that was given by all the Buddhas for the creation of the Pure Land of Garchen. So all the Buddhas of the 3 times exclaimed Emaho, because it is a very special Pure Land. Because of all those countless Pure Lands, in Garchen, even an ordinary being can actually be born there if they only trust and if they only pray. Even though, of course, there are many other qualities to the Pure Land of Garchen, but if you only remember these qualities, then you can cultivate trust in the Pure Land. And so, why we say it is also so special is because it not only is a creation of the Buddha Amitabha's aspiration prayer, it also is a very new Pure Land. Actually, it is only 7 days old. It was created a week ago, but that is in Garchen terms. 1 day in Garchen equals 1 aeon for us. So one of those fortunate aeons is 1 day in Garchen. And because the happiness, the joy in Garchen is so great, it seems to be a very short time. But for us, it feels more, in terms of our time, it is 7 aeons. So think about these qualities of the Pure Land of Garchen, and then compare that to the human existence. So even we humans, even though we have some happiness, no matter what kind of happiness that is, it always requires us to some effort. We have to work hard for this happiness. And it always is somehow combined with some difficulties and suffering and pains. And as opposed to the Pure Land of Garchen, where the happiness just appears naturally and effortlessly as the manifestation of bodhicitta. So first, think about it in this comparative way, and then you come to the conclusion, actually, I better go there. It's just like when you are in a country, in a troubled country, when you realize how troubled the country is, you want to take refuge in a different country, in a better country. So you actually want to go there. And that is important. First of all, you need to have a wish to actually go there, to the Pure Land of Garchen. And in order to have that wish, you must understand its qualities. So that is the first cause, that is to establish the field of accumulation by thinking of the qualities of the Pure Land and Amitabha. And the second cause is to accumulate merit and purify obscurations. And merit means, in brief, to cultivate love. And that manifests in the form of devotion for those who are higher, and then in a form of compassion for all the other sentient beings. If you have compassion, then naturally anything you do with body and speech becomes the 6 paramitas. If you have devotion, your practice naturally becomes an offering of the 7 limbs. And all of these are an antidote to the 6 afflictive emotions. All of these qualities arise actually from love only. So it is actually only a feeling of love, and when it is directed towards the 3 jewels, the high ones, then we call it devotion. It becomes devotion. And when that love is directed to suffering sentient beings, then we call it compassion. It becomes compassion. So in this way, anything becomes virtues. Therefore, Jetsu Milarepa had said, perfectly practice virtue in whatever you do. There is no other perfection of the method, of skillful means than that. And so that is to say that if you cultivate bodhicitta, then whatever you do naturally becomes virtuous and beneficial for others. Even if you only cultivate bodhicitta for an instant, and that instant it is virtuous. So that is the second cause for being born in Garchen, the purification of obscurations and accumulation of merit. And so what we call merit actually, what we really accumulate, merit is love and compassion. That is what we accumulate. And each and every time you give rise to compassion for sentient beings, your compassion increases. So you're accumulating it just like a honeybee accumulates honey. And it becomes more and more. And you expand your love more and more until it reaches all mother sentient beings. And that's not without exception. And that is actually also what purifies the obscurations. So even though we say accumulation of merit and purification of obscurations, actually they come from the same thing. So they are connected. Because if you cultivate an altruistic mind, self-grasping naturally diminishes. And that's the ultimate obscuration. And again, when self-grasping arises, the mind becomes like ice. And again, when love arises, it is like the sun is shining. So it is like the connection between the sun and the ice. So when you cultivate compassion, actually you simultaneously accumulate merit and purify the obscurations together. So that is now the second cause. And then the third cause for being born in Garchen is to cultivate bodhicitta. And so that is not to only not only you want to go there, not only to think I want to go to Garchen, but all others want to go there. So you cultivate a longing faith for all others to be born there. And then the fourth cause to be born in Garchen is the aspiration prayer or the proper dedication. So you form an actual prayer that whatever virtue I have done may it become the cause of birth in Garchen for all mother sentient beings and myself. So you perfectly seal all practices with the proper dedication. And so these are the four causes of birth in Garchen. First, to visualize bring to mind the field of accumulation. Secondly, to accumulate merit and purify obscurations. Third, to cultivate bodhicitta. And fourth, to pray, to form an aspiration prayer.
Итак, мы также должны очень хорошо понимать, что же является причиной перерождения в девачене. И таких причин 4. Первое – это нужно визуализировать так называемое поле накоплений. То есть здесь мы должны всегда помнить о качествах Будды Амитабхи, а также о качествах чистой земли. Когда мы говорим о качествах Амитабхи, то мы всегда должны помнить то, что его ум огромный как пространство и пустой как пространство. Второе – это то, что ум Будды Амитабхи охватывает абсолютно все. И третье – то, что его ум является чистой, ясной мудростью. И это все манифестирует как облако, как радуга сострадания. Вот в таком окружении, вот в такой чистой земле Будда Амитабха и существует. И нужно представлять, что все пространство заполнено абсолютно чистой любовью, как радуга. Это можно представить следующим образом. Представьте себе огромный город, например, как этот, который покрыт таким облаком радуги. И в то же самое время и радуга не существует, и этот город не существует. Вот именно в таком городе, в такой области и существует Будда Амитабха и чистая земля Девачена. Итак, может возникнуть вопрос, действительно ли существует Девачен. И надо сказать, что есть знак того, что это действительно так. Действительно есть и чистая земля, и Будда Амитабха. Говорится, что они манифестировали благодаря Бодхичитте. И мы говорили, что Бодхичитта манифестирует и в Дharmakaya, и в Самбхагакае. И мы говорили, что только потому, что у живых существ есть нечистое восприятие, существует и нижнее царство. И когда мы все родились как человеческие существа, мы испытываем и счастье, и страдания. И даже малейшее счастье, которое мы испытываем в своем царстве, происходит от наших действий тела и речи, которые были мотивированы любовью и состраданием. То есть даже малейшее наше ощущение счастья, это все идет от того, что когда-то мы что-то хорошее сделали телом и речью. И с относительной точки зрения такой закон кармы, он абсолютно безупречен и всегда работает. Ну а все страдания, которые мы испытываем, всегда происходят только от нашей ненависти, зависти и других негативных эмоций. И в человеческом мире мы всегда испытываем и подъемы, и падения, и счастье, и несчастье. И это происходит от того, что мы постоянно совершаем различные деяния, которые были мотивированы или же ненавистью, или же любовью. И поэтому мы можем напрямую видеть то, что мы воспринимаем как страдание, это то же самое, как может появиться и Гарчен в любое время. Итак, чистая земля Гарчена, она особая и отличается от других чистых земель. Вы, наверное, знаете, что существует очень много различных чистых земель, и считается, что в этих чистых землях можно родиться только тогда, если вы являетесь Бодхисаттвой 8-го гуны. И если у вас недостаточно бодхичитты, то тогда вам не удастся попасть в эти чистые земли.